What's up? I'm that one guy from 87, and today I'm going to be replacing the oil pressure sensor in my 2007 Chevy Silverado. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is take the engine cover off. Should be two notches, one right here, one right there, and a little clip in the back. If one of the connector pieces gets stuck, just pop it off. And just push it back in. So the oil pressure sensor should be this piece that you can see behind this little shield back here, and it's located all the way in the very back on top of the engine block. So since the part is in the back of the block and is basically dead center of the engine compartment, you're probably going to want to use something as like a step stool. I'm going to be using a cooler to help lift myself up, unless you're just extremely tall or can fit inside the engine compartment. Alright, so as you can see, there's a whole bunch of hoses and some wires going around here, but I can't fit my hand all the way back here to get to it. And then right here where you can see my finger moving should be the oil pressure sensor. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the electrical. Maybe. I'll figure out how it disconnects. Alright, so it feels like it has a little tab that comes down the side of it. I'm just going to carefully pull the tab back. Yep. So yeah, there's a tab that comes down the side of it. On my truck, it's facing the driver's side. I push it back just a little bit and then lift it up. As you can see, I'm moving it out of the way right now. And it feels like the wires that are holding on to it, or that it's connected to, are pretty tight back here. So I don't think I'm going to have any problem with it falling down further into the compartment. So I'm probably just going to leave it right there. And then again, here's the connector piece, if you can see it through that little hole. And so that's what it looks like from the top view, if you were able to actually look down and see it. So for this job, I went with the door last oil sensor replacement part, which was about 50 bucks at AutoZone. And then I also bought the socket made just for the switch. So the setup I'm going to use to try to do this is the OEM oil pressure sensor socket, a 1/2 inch knuckle, a 1/2 inch to 3/8 adapter, and about a 3 inch 3/8 extension. Alright, so I was able to get the socket over the sensor. Now I just got to reconnect my adapter. Alright, so I was able to reconnect the adapter with the extension on it. Now I'll just get the socket wrench and try to take it off. It also helped using a flashlight to look through the little hole to make sure that the socket was lining up over the oil pressure sensor. Alright, so it took about 10 minutes to get the old oil pressure sensor out. I did have to upgrade to the same socket, use the same knuckle, but instead of using a 3/8 or a 1/2 inch to 3/8 adapter with a 3/8 extension, I just went with a 1/2 inch extension with another short 1/2 inch extension, and then used the 1/2 inch socket wrench to actually break it free, because the 3/8 was just not enough to do the job. I was also very scared that it was going to break off but luckily it came out pretty smooth. And again, it only took me about 15 minutes. I didn't have to remove any of the tubing or electrical other than the electrical that was connected to the sensor itself. And now it's time to put the new sensor back on, which I'm just going to use the same steps that I used to take it off with. Another thing that I would like to add is that in some of the videos I watched, they talked about a filter or a screen that might pop out. I didn't feel any filter or screen pop out, so it might still be in there if there is one. So that might be something else you want to think about before doing this job. And then I'll also point the camera down so we can take a look at it without the sensor in it. And so that's what it looks like when you take the sensor out, if you were able to look at it from the top side. Alright, so now I'm about to stick my hand back down there and hand tighten it. I guess one thing to remember is before you do this, or after you do this, the connector piece for the electrical that went down facing the driver's side at the beginning of the video will go over this piece right here. So that should help you line up the electrical, hopefully. So with the flashlight, again, you can actually see the hole. So I'm just gonna stick my hand down here, try not to drop this thing, line it up with the hole. Alright, so I was able to get in there. I'm just gonna hand tighten it as far as I can before I actually put the socket back on it. That way I don't have to worry about it falling out. Again, there's not a lot of room back here. So, alright, I got it on there about as far as I'm gonna get it with my hand. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put the oil pressure socket, or the oil pressure sensor socket back on there. Try to get it as much as I can with that. And then I'm not really sure what you're supposed to torque this to. So I'm just going to try to get it tight, but not super tight. Because I definitely don't want to strip it or mess it up anymore. So I got the socket. I'm actually probably going to leave the knuckle on also, just to give me something to hold on to as I drop it down over the top of it. Again, using the hole to make sure that I'm on top of it right. Alright, now I'll put the two extensions back on there. Connect that to the 1/2" wrench, socket wrench, and take her home. Alright, so we got her on there tight. Start taking all this stuff back out. Should be able to take our whole little setup out. Reach back down here, find that electrical piece, and then find the end that's supposed to go on. Alright, I just felt it pop in. It latched into place. So it should be good to go. Move the camera back there one more time to check it out, make sure everything looks good. Another thing you want to do is if you didn't connect your hoses, make sure you didn't pull anything out of place or knock anything loose that shouldn't be loose, because there are several things going on this side. Alright, so take a look back there, see what she looks like. Alright, so now that we got everything put back in place and all the hoses and everything look good, before I put the cover back on, I'm going to go ahead, fire her up, and see what she says to me. Alright, so it looks like the oil pressure looks good, but the check engine light is still on. So I'm gonna hook it up to the code reader, see what the code is that it's throwing. Hopefully it's the same one. Clear it out and see what happens. Alright, so we're reading good oil pressure, and my check engine light is no longer on. Alright, so before I put the engine cover back on, I'm going to put the camera back there one more time. Make sure it doesn't look like it leaked anywhere. And then probably over the next couple days, I'm definitely going to keep an eye on the oil pressure, the oil level. And then I probably will just take the engine cover off and stick my phone back here and look at it periodically. Make sure that it's still staying tight and that there's no oil coming out of the sensor. So when you're done, the last step of it is to just put the engine cover back on. So I'm that one guy from 87. We just changed the oil pressure sensor on my 2007 Chevy Silverado with the 5.3 liter engine in it. This is not the only way you can do it, but this is how I did it. And I'm by no means a mechanic, but if I can do something on my own truck, I'm at least going to try. And hopefully this video helps you out. Thanks for watching.